All right, then it's Ask Me a Question Day. I'm Lee, just in case you weren't sure. So let's get into it. All right, so I got a few questions, but I'm just gonna go through three of them today. So the first one was from Tumeki. Can you invoke planetary energies such as Mars, and how would that differ from invoking a spirit? Yes, you can, and doesn't really differ very much, really. You know, I do talk about demonology a lot on here. So when we're talking about invoking a spirit in that sense, we often refer to using an enchant. Not all spirits function with ends. The end is very similar to a mantra, but you know, we have different traditions, different paths, different gods and goddesses, different pantheons. And when we're talking about the planetary energies, you are looking very much at the Roman pantheon. It doesn't have to be the Roman pantheon. The planets are there for everybody. And the planets hold a particular energy in particular aspects. So yes, you can definitely invoke them. And you would do that in the same manner as you would invoke another spirit within another tradition. So you may, well, you gave the example of Mars, so you may decorate your temple room with red fabrics, red candles, red lighting, things that pertain to Mars. Find out what the incenses are, burn that incense, or you know, the resins or whatever attributes, correspondences actually relate to that planet. There is a very good book if you do want to get into this. It's called Planetary Magic, and it's by Denning and Phipps. Oh, sorry, not Phipps. Denning and Phillips. Planetary Magic. It's a very good book. It kind of takes you through each planet and starts you out by introducing you to the planet. So you actually do a meditation, of visualization and meditation with some invocations and things like that, which bring in the energy of the planet. But you bring in the planetary energies, and you get introduced to the energy itself, and then you continue from there and you start working with the actual spirits which relate to the planets as well. But just the planetary energy itself you can invoke as you would with any other spirit. It's an energy, just like a spirit is an energy, and that energy has a particular aspect to it. All right. The next question was from, I hope I'll say this right, Occultista Makiej. Not sure if I said that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there is such a thing as demonology, is there something like Angelolatry, or it's just the practicing of classical Kabbalah? To my surprise, yes, there is. I never actually looked at this before. So I went, I got the question and obviously went looking for that. And there is such a practice as angelolatry. Whereas demonology is the worship of demons, then angelolatry is the worship of angels. And that doesn't need to pertain or fix to a particular tradition. It is the worship of angels. And, you know, when we talk about angels, they were around before classical or traditional Kabbalah. So, you know, there are many traditions and paths which actually work with the angelic forces. And even if you're looking into demonology, taking the word demon itself and properly using it as, you know, in its proper sense, then a demon is a divine intelligence. In the Old Greek, it referred to a tutelary spirit. So the demon itself is, we can bring angels into this category. So, you know, it's not just stuck and fixed to what I think what people in modern times commonly referred to as demons. I think there's this really bad interpretation of what a demon is. But in demonology we have, we can very much split them into sort of two categories. So we have the angelic forces, Lucifer, Azazel, etc. And then we have the more earthbound jinn forces, like the spirits of the Goetia. But you do get your angelic forces within demonology. And a lot of demonolators will actually work with work with angels and even Enochian. All right, so carrying on. Next question was from Vic Barra. Hi Lee, with an astral temple, can we build an invocation space which improves our connection with gods and goddesses and make it easier to detect parasites or negative spirits? I'm actually going to get a bit more into this month. I'm going to be discussing different ways we can work astrally, and I'm going to actually be staying away from astral projection itself, because that's where everybody goes to, well, usually. So I'm going to be having a look again at astral temples. We'll be looking at shamanic journeying. I'm going to have a look at reality shifting and all these different aspects, different ways of actually working with the astral plane. So I will get a bit more into this, but when you're working with an astral temple, one thing you do not want to do is bring any other energies into your temple. It's a bit difficult actually, because when we are working with the astral temple, we're often doing magic which we can petition the gods and goddesses for. But what I find is what you can do is construct a doorway which leads from your astral temple into these spaces, into these realms, into the lower world or the upper world, the middle world. So you're not necessarily within your astral temple anymore. You are stepping outside your astral temple into these realms. So you would go from this organic world or this organic realm down into your astral temple, which is your inner temple, your inner self, and then you would go out into the lower world, middle world, upper world, whatever realm you actually need to work in. And there you can work with the gods and goddesses. And the problem here is that you don't need to go through the astral temple to do that. You can work in such a fashion that you just go straight into that realm and speak with the gods and goddesses directly. Does it make it easier? No, not necessarily. Does it make it easier to detect astral parasites, negative energies? No, still the same. So you really need to learn discernment when it comes to that. And the more you practice, the better it becomes, the easier it becomes. You get used to it. You get more accustomed to actually doing the work itself. And when we do start, we do have a lot of questions that arise. Was it real? Did I really meet this spirit, this god or this goddess? Was it just my imagination? All things like that. But as you continue to work, you notice all those subtle things that start to kind of tell you that yes, it really was real, and that really was the god and goddess, or goddess that you were meeting with. But that comes with practice. So just need to keep practicing, that's all. Okay. Those are the questions I wanted to get through today. If I get more and more questions, because they are starting to pile up, which I'm happy about, but I don't want to be left with a week without a question. So if you do have a question, leave them in the comments to this video, the Ask Lee video, and I will include them in a future video. So next week I've got 3 questions lined up for next week, so we'll cover them then and then continue from there. All right, so I hope you have a great one. Cheers for now. Bye bye.